And welcome to another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I am your host, Shiro Chan. Today is Sunday, November 10th, 2019. Got a lot of really cool stuff to go over this week, so let's get right down to it, shall we? In Yu-Gi-Oh! News, it's time to admit Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is better than the original Yu-Gi-Oh! It's one of the most prevalent discussions among card game anime enthusiasts, Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Well, at least it was until there were 6 different Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime to choose from, and the conversation became much more complicated. Nevertheless, when pitting Yu-Gi-Oh!, aka Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, to differentiate it from the 1998 Toei anime, against Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was the cool thing to do, many fans were steadfast in their belief the spin-off was no match for its predecessor. And to this very day, many old-school Yu-Gi-Oh! Devotees still hold up the original adventures of Yu-Gi-Moto and his friends as the franchise's gold standard. However, now that we have the power of hindsight, there's an argument to be made that GX is actually the stronger of the first 2 shows. As fun and as iconic as the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is, a big part of the reason it tends to be put on a pedestal comes down to nostalgia, particularly nostalgia for the earlier seasons. And therein lies the major reason why GX is arguably the better of the 2 series. Yu-Gi-Oh! Peaked too soon, whereas GX only got better as time went on. As far as anime that exists to promote trading cards go, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was a masterclass in slow burn character development. By the time the series ended, the characters were entirely different people than they were when we first met them. And we got to see that process unfold in real time, watching them slowly grow, learn, and ultimately change over the course of their time at Duel Academy, with series protagonists Jade and Yuki having the most profound evolution. And while Jaden did have the most profound evolution, most of GX's characters, be they main or supporting, were also given intriguing arcs and motivations that span multiple seasons. They really felt like high school kids who were slowly getting to know who they really were over a 4-year period. Yu-Gi-Oh! Gave meaningful arcs to major players like Yugi, Yami, and Seto Kaiba. However, its supporting characters didn't get quite as much development over the show's 5 seasons, save for a few life lessons and big moments here and there. Sure, some GX characters fell by the wayside as well, but whereas GX made it a point to ensure its characters were continually evolving, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was often hesitant to disrupt the status quo. Now, the voices, mannerisms, and strong personalities of Yu-Gi's original cast will rightly live on in the hearts and minds of fans forever. Still, it's GX's cast who feel more like genuinely fleshed out individuals. The seemingly innocuous filler stories from early in GX's run ended up being anything but, as they underscored the show's devotion to really exploring what made its characters tick, which is ultimately the reason GX was able to surpass its predecessor. Each season of GX was better than the last, with each school year exponentially raising the stakes and forcing the students to adapt. In fact, Season 4 was such a fulfilling payoff, it's honestly a shame so many casual fans never got to see it, considering it was the only season of GX not dubbed into English or broadcast on American television. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX peaked when it was coming to a close and its characters were fully realized, making the whole experience feel like a worthwhile journey. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, on the other hand, really sort of hit its apex at the end of Season 3, with the following 2 seasons not quite being able to recapture the magic that won over a generation of duelists. Season 4 certainly had its fair share of good ideas and great moments, not to mention new characters who were much more interesting than they were given credit for, even if they weren't particularly memorable. And while the first half of Season 5 just felt like treading old ground, it still managed to kick things into high gear in its second half and end the series on a high note. Even so, the fact remains that while late GX continually upped the ante and took its story and characters to new heights, late Duel Monsters honestly felt like a shadow of its former self. When talking about their favorite moments from the original show, there's a reason a lot of OG Yu-Gi-Oh fans tend to bring up Duelist Kingdom and Battle City, and not the Orichalcos saga or the Kaiba Corp Grand Prix. At the end of the day, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX is the championship duelist who retired on top, while Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters is the former champ who kept going well past their prime. That's pretty much all we have for Yu-Gi-Oh! News this week. On to the next segment. In Pokemon news, there are no plans to bring the full Pokédex to Pokemon Sword and Shield, and future games will follow suit. And we're a week away from the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and the game is already being attacked online by fans who feel the developer Game Freak is letting them down, mainly because it has already been confirmed that the Switch release won't have a complete Pokédex. To counter this movement, loyal followers are posting tweets under the hashtag #ThankYouGameFreak, but the latest comments from producer Junichi Masuda are sure to give more ammo to the naysayers. Speaking to Inside Gamer, Masuda not only confirmed that there are no plans to expand the Pokédex via a future update, he also said that this is the template for subsequent games in the franchise. Quoting, "We currently have no plans to make the Pokemon that are missing from the Galar Pokédex available in-game. This is an approach that we want to continue with future Pokemon games. Up until now, it hasn't been possible to encounter every Pokemon in every game, so people had to transfer them from old games to the new game by using Pokemon Bank, for example. The Pokemon Home app is currently in development, in which players can collect their various Pokemon, and only Pokemon in the Galar Pokédex can be transferred from there to Sword and Shield. But the way of playing is actually not very different from before with Pokemon Bank. Up until now, you have always only been able to meet Pokemon from a certain region. We encourage people to use Pokemon Home to collect their Pokemon from old games. From there, they might be able to take them to other games in the future. So take good care of your old Pokemon, because perhaps you can travel with them again in the future." This is very interesting news from the creators of the game, and I'm hoping that it won't cause any issues with future releases. Speaking of Pokemon Sword and Shield, if you want to avoid any spoilers, you may want to avoid YouTube. Now, multiple YouTube channels which have access to the game have actually started streaming it live to thousands of users. And we have learned that this is the case because illegal copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield are being distributed on the internet. So, if you want to avoid those spoilers, stay away from YouTube. And if you want those original Pokemon in your Pokédex, make sure to start looking into using the Pokemon Home feature. That's all we have for Pokemon news this week. On to the next segment. In Magic the Gathering news, Magic the Gathering bans 3 cards from brand new format. Magic the Gathering has banned 3 more cards from the brand new Pioneer format. Wizards of the Coast announced that Oath of Nissa, Leyline of Abundance, and Felidar Guardian are banned in Pioneer as of November 8th in Tabletop Magic and November 5th in Magic Online. Now, the banning of these cards is intended to help prevent certain strong deck archetypes from dominating the format. Quoted, "In this case, there are 2 decks that are head and shoulders above the field, 4-color Copycat and Green Devotion Ramp," writes senior game designer Ian Duke in the announcement on the Magic the Gathering website. These 2 decks have earned the most 5-0 league finishes on Magic Online and have problematically high win rates against the field. Both decks feature play patterns that would reduce metagame diversity over time. Based on Magic Online data, we don't believe that regular metagame pressure alone will be enough to keep these strategies in check. As a result, we are banning Felidar Guardian, Leyline of Abundance, and Oath of Nissa. Felidar Guardian is banned for its synergy with Saheeli Ray. Leyline of Abundance is banned for its ramp capabilities in Green Devotion decks, and for offering 2 Green Devotion for 0 mana to power up Nykthos Shrine to Nyx. Oath of Nissa is banned for the increased power it granted both of these deck archetypes, and for fear that it would have a similar effect on future decks. These 3 cards join the 5 dual-color fetch lands: Bloodstained Mire, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Windswept Heath, Wooded Foothills on Pioneer's ban list. Those 5 lands were banned at the announcement of the new format to avoid making multicolor mana bases too easy to put together. Wizards of the Coast hopes that the Pioneer format will become what Modern once was, a format that is easy for newer players to transition into after experiencing their first Standard format set rotation. They want it to be a middle ground between the newbie-friendly Standard and the power level of decks in the Legacy format. Pioneer launched with cards going back 5 years legal, with 2014's Return to Ravnica set as the format's unmoving start point. Quoted, "Pioneer will utilize sets from Return to Ravnica forward," Wizards of the Coast's Blake Rasmussen explained in the announcement. One goal in creating Pioneer was for the format to be large enough to have cross-block synergies to give the format its own unique characteristics. Starting with RTR gives the format that in the most different from Modern, since Modern launched right before RTR. This is really interesting news. I'm expecting Pioneer format to really blow up soon, much in the way that Modern did after it first came out. Also in Magic the Gathering news, Magic the Gathering inducted into National Toy Hall of Fame. The National Toy Hall of Fame, established in 1998 and operated by the Strong Museum in Rochester, New York, has officially revealed the 2019 National Toy Hall of Fame inductees. This year, the special group that joins previous inductees includes Magic the Gathering, the popular trading card game from Wizards of the Coast. Quoted, "Magic the Gathering changed the landscape of collectible card gaming with its introduction more than 25 years ago, and it's become a part of pop culture, leading to book series, electronic games, and even a series on Netflix," curator Shannon Simon states in the press release announcing the game's induction. The fact that it continues to maintain popularity is a testament to its revolutionary gameplay and consistent evolution, making it engaging for beginners and experts alike. Other inductees this year include Matchbox Cars and The Coloring Book. The other finalists that didn't quite make the cut this year include Care Bears, Fisher-Price Corn Popper, Jenga, Masters of the Universe, My Little Pony, and more. Last year's inductees included Magic 8 Ball, Pinball, and Uno. Inductees are chosen based on the following criteria according to the National Toy Hall of Fame's official website. Icon status. The toy is widely recognized, respected, and remembered. Longevity. The toy is more than a passing fad and has enjoyed popularity over multiple generations. Discovery. The toy fosters learning, creativity, or discovery through play. And innovation. The toy profoundly changed play or toy design. A toy may be inducted on the basis of this criterion without necessarily having met all of the first 3. This is really big news for any Magic the Gathering fan, and I can't wait to see what next year's inductee list includes. That's pretty much all we have for Magic the Gathering news this week. On to the next segment. In gaming news, unexpected PS5 feature possibly leaked in new PlayStation patent. The PlayStation 5 may use cartridges. That, or Sony's working on a new separate PlayStation system that utilizes cartridges. A new patent filed by Sony Interactive Entertainment has surfaced online for a game cartridge. The patent was filed earlier this year at the INPI in Brazil and was spotted by Dutch website Let's Go Digital, the same website who notably discovered the PlayStation 5 dev kit patent, which turned out to be real. Now, the design of the cartridge was realized by Yujin Murasawa, the senior art director of corporate design at Sony Interactive Entertainment, and it's a basic cartridge design. That said, it's unclear what this could be for. Sony has already squashed the idea of a PlayStation Vita successor, and we know the PlayStation 5 utilizes Blu-ray discs. As mentioned, lending credence to this patent leak is the fact that this is exactly how the PlayStation 5 dev kit leaked, with a patent designed by Murasawa filed to the INPI, later spotted by the aforementioned outlet. Again though, unlike the dev kit, it's less obvious what this could be for. A home PlayStation console has never used cartridges, only discs. So, is this another PlayStation device, possibly a new PlayStation handheld? Alas, all we can do right now is speculate, but there seems to be something to this. That all said, it's important to remember that hardware makers such as Sony file patents all the time, many of which never make it to the consumer market. It's quite possible this cartridge will be another example of this. Now, PlayStation 5 is currently planned to release sometime holiday 2020. At the moment of this recording, there's no word of a precise release date or a price point. For more news, rumors, leaks, and information on the upcoming next-gen PlayStation console, make sure to keep listening to the podcast, and I will bring to you any information that I uncover. Also in PlayStation news and gaming news, PlayStation CEO wants PlayStation 4 owners to quickly upgrade to PlayStation 5. PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan wants PS4 owners to upgrade as soon as possible to the PS5, which hints at what gamers may expect from the next-gen console. Well, Sony has confirmed that the PS5 will roll out in the holiday season of 2020, so PS4 owners will have to wait about a year for the system. Once the console is released, Ryan says he hopes the transition will be seamless. Quoted, "As we move towards the next generation in 2020, one of our tasks, probably our main task, is to take that community and transition it from PS4 to PS5, and at a scale and pace that we've never delivered on before," said Ryan in an interview with Games Industry. Now, there remain some questions surrounding the upcoming console, including whether it is worth it to buy it on the first day. Now, Sony clearly wants as many PS4 owners as possible to make that decision. Now, Ryan's comment suggests that Sony is planning a massive launch to achieve that targeted scale and pace in getting PS4 owners to upgrade to the new console. And one important factor that will come into play is the price. So Ryan may be hinting that the PS5 will be more affordable than expected. And this is definitely interesting news, especially considering how poorly the PS3 did on initial launch. Now, another possible driving force for quick upgrades would be an attractive library of games that will be available upon the new console's launch. This is apparently possible, as Ryan said that developers and publishers are having fun with their spaceship-looking development kits. Quoted, "One thing that makes me particularly optimistic that what we're hearing from developers and publishers is the ease in which they are able to get code running on PS5 is way beyond any experience they've had on any other PlayStation platform." Ryan added that Sony is also planning a global campaign for the PS5 launch, which should get the console in more hands as soon as it launches. There are still many unconfirmed details about the PS5, such as how backward compatibility will work for the new console, and whether the rumors are true that it will be released alongside the PS5 Pro. One thing is for sure though, and that is Sony wants PS4 owners to start saving up for an upgrade. That's pretty much all we have for gaming news this week. On to the next segment. In tech news, Netflix unblocks all your favorite streaming service without losing speed. If you have a trip coming up, chances are you'll have to leave your favorite shows in the back burner. How are you going to binge your beloved series from out of the country when it's geo-restricted? Netflix is a helpful service that grants you access to all the popular streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, from anywhere in the world without restriction and speed loss. Getflix smartly partitions your streaming traffic through a VPN, leaving the rest of your internet bandwidth intact for other things. You could watch Stranger Things on one window while still browsing your go-to tech website in another. Besides TV shows and movies, Getflix also gives you access to sports, online radio, anime, and more. And you can stay up to date on your favorite sports team wherever you go. It's worth noting that Getflix doesn't replace the need for a subscription streaming service. A few interesting tidbits of information about Getflix. You have access to over 300 streaming services from anywhere around the world, access to over 200 VPN nodes, get an optimal VPN and smart VPN account to encrypt all your traffic. You can use it with all your favorite devices. There's no need to install any software. So instead of paying $5 per month for this service, you can get a lifetime subscription for just $49.99. It's actually a 30-year subscription, but that makes it worth as much as $1,800. However you look at it, it's quite a bargain. There are also great offers on the 1 and 3-year subscriptions starting from just $19.99. On top of that, Getflix includes an optional VPN and smart VPN account for extra online security. Your chance to catch this deal expires soon, so make sure to check out Getflix to take advantage of this offer before it expires. Also in tech news, Apple wants to put Touch ID on the Apple Watch, move antennas to the band. The United States Patent and Trademark Office published a recent patent application from Apple, which could give us a hint at what we might see on the future best-selling Apple wearable. According to the application, Apple could be shifting the watch's antennas around a little, taking them out of the watch itself and placing them on the watch band. These external antennas would also be able to stretch, bend, and flex together with the band itself that they're built into. Additionally, the patent also describes how the Apple Watch display can be used as an input surface for several input devices, along with a fingerprint sensor, which is specifically mentioned. Equipping the Apple Watch with biometrics would further push the envelope, allowing added security and enabling some apps to benefit from the same level of security that apps do on the iPhone. This is really interesting news. Of course, Apple is constantly updating the Apple Watch every year, and we'll have to see what comes of these patents. That's pretty much all I have for tech news this week. On to the next segment. In movie news, every Star Wars movie and TV show you can watch on Disney+. Do you want Star Wars content? How about all of it? Star Wars fans who decide to subscribe to the new Disney Plus streaming service are in for a real treat with content galore, including every animated series, every film, documentaries, and all new live-action series, the first live-action series in the entire Star Wars saga. And just about a month after this streaming service releases, you can go see The Rise of Skywalker in theaters. What a time to be alive. What all can you expect to find in the Star Wars department of Disney+? Well, let's take a quick look. The films, episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, Rogue One, Solo, and Star Wars The Clone Wars animated movie. The only film that will not be available is, of course, The Rise of Skywalker, which will be on the streaming platform at some point in 2020. The TV series that will be available include The Mandalorian, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars The Clone Wars The Lost Missions, Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars Resistance, Lego Star Wars Droid Tales, Lego Star Wars The Freemaker Adventures, and Lego Star Wars All-Stars. This is going to be a very good resource, if I can call it that, for many Star Wars fans. Although it may not be for everyone, some of the animated content from the Star Wars universe is the best storytelling we have, including The Clone Wars, which will be getting a brand new season in 2020. Now, one of the geniuses behind the Clone Wars is Dave Filoni, who also wrote Star Wars Rebels and helped create Star Wars Resistance. The Mandalorian is going to be an all-new series and will release 8 episodes starting on November 12th when Disney Plus becomes available. The first episode was written by Jon Favreau and directed by the aforementioned Filoni. Here's the viewing schedule for that new show specifically. Episode 1 will come out November 12th. Episode 2 will be November 15th. November 22nd, 29th, December 6th, 13th, 18th, and 27th, respectively, for the first 8 episodes. Now, if you're a Star Wars fan, Disney Plus is probably worth the price of admission strictly for all of this content. This doesn't include the thousands of other titles from Disney and Pixar and all the other phenomenal content that will soon be available. Even if Disney decided to simply release The Mandalorian and wait to release everything else, I think you'd get a large sect of the Star Wars fandom buying in right away. There's so much excellent content here, especially the inclusion of the animated series The Clone Wars and Rebels, which has yet to be released in its entirety on any paid streaming service. The Clone Wars was available for a long time on Netflix, and it's high time to brush up on those episodes before the new season is released. Now, whatever Star Wars flavor you're craving, Disney Plus is going to have it on demand. I know I'm really excited for this, and I'm hoping to see what other Star Wars products Disney Plus eventually has to offer us. That's actually all I have for movie news this week, and since we're coming up on the end of the episode, that's pretty much all the news we have. On to the final thoughts. Before we get to the final thoughts, here's a few words from some other shows you might find entertaining.
Hey, I'm Chen.
And I'm James.
We're from A Bloody Mess Podcast, the badly researched true crime podcast.
We straddle the boundaries between documentary and comedy, and our aim is to leave you laughing and thinking, wow, I didn't know that.
So once you're done with this podcast, add us to your download lists and give us a go. Have a nice day.
Bye.
There's been a murder of podcast.
Hello! Do you listen to podcasts? Did you seriously just give me that look? I knew you listened to podcasts, but do you listen to the Bare Naked Ladies? Wait, don't hit fast forward. Yes, there's a band out there called Bare Naked Ladies. They are quirky, fun, comedic, and excellent musicians. If you love alternative 90s music with a little jazz, rap, and country mixed in at different times, then you've got to try this band out. And we will lead you through a journey of getting to love this band. We have 3 or 4 people with different levels of bare naked experience. We have Aaron, who's our music expert that breaks down each song. We will try to be informative, but also, we're all friends, so we like to have as much fun as possible. If you are a moderate fan of BNL, then you'll find new experiences and information. If you're a BNL fanatic like me, then I bet you too will find a song that is a deep dive that you never knew of. We sometimes have guests after the first letter. Oh, did I not mention that? We are Bare Naked ABCs, and the ABCs represents that we discuss the songs alphabetically. So come try us out on all platforms where podcasts are downloaded. Bare Naked ABCs. And no, we are not nude during the recordings.
Bare naked. Bare naked. Bare naked. ABCs.
Hello, future listeners. We are Historical AF. I'm Ashley.
I'm Keena.
And I'm Natalie.
We are 2 librarians and a historian bringing the funny, weird, spooky, and morbid historical nuggets you never knew you needed in your ear holes every Sunday.
And once a month, we bring you extra AF episodes full of your stories and history in the news.
And we do this while hitting the giggle water and gracing the world with our foul mouths and wit.
So if you love to laugh and you like history, true crime, and the paranormal, then we are the podcast for you, and your girls can't wait for you to join us.
You can find us on all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. For a full list of ways to listen, go to historicalafpodcast.wordpress.com. And while you're there, you can check out the photos that accompany each episode.
Yeah, bye. We'll see you soon. I don't know. That'll probably scare him away.
Yeah.
Probably.
Come to us.
Come to the dark side. We have vodka.
And
Yeah.
cookies.
Hell yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Well, here we are at the end of yet another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I hope you've enjoyed the show and have been both informed and entertained. If you have any comments or suggestions on anything that I have covered this week, or if there's a topic you would like to see covered in a future episode, make sure to contact the show. There are several ways you can do that. You can email me, hazardousverbal@gmail.com. You can use the contact form on the Contact Us page on the website, hazardousverbal.com. You can leave a voice message through Skype. The Skype ID is Ichimoto1. And you can contact me through any of the show's social media pages, which I believe the links are on the website. It's pretty much all we have for this week. I did want to make a couple notes. First of all, as I said last week, the Shiro-chan Games page on tcgplayer.com is back up and running. Made a couple of sales, and hopefully can make a couple more sales, help support the show. I did want to apologize for not having the show notes up yet for last week's episode. Life has been getting a little hectic lately, and I just kind of forgot about it. I will try and get those up sometime in the next week. As for what we covered in this episode, there's a lot of cool stuff here. Some cool information about what's coming on Disney Plus in regards to the Star Wars franchise. Some interesting new rumors for the PlayStation 5. And some cool information coming out of the tech world in regards to that service Getflix, which I'm definitely going to look into myself, and some new features coming to the next iteration of the Apple Watch. That's pretty much all I have for this week. Until next week, this is Shiro-chan signing off. Peace.